afternoon, everybody. We got hit with a little ice storm overnight. Woke up and there was a sheet of ice everywhere. Ice on the trees. As you can see, it makes a lovely little gray highlight to the branches of the trees. And, it's fine now. The roads are just wet. It's 34 degrees, which is, of course, above freezing. And now it's just a gloomy gray day. But you got some ice on some things like we have over on the right here on these bushes, or everywhere, really. So I thought I'd do a little video so you can see what it looks like here in the ice. It's very exciting. Very exciting. We're on the Fairfield Road heading into Gettysburg. I was told by someone that you can get a detour further up the road from where they actually have the detour marked. So I'm like, good, because that takes forever and a day. So we'll see if this is any quicker. We'll see. I can't remember the road she said, but we'll figure it out. Otherwise, how are you? Good morning, Jean. Good morning, Barbara. How are you guys doing today? Had a good meeting yesterday with Court. He spent the last, 2 or 3 weeks, maybe, researching things online. And we had a good, okay, here we go, Knoxland Road. Could go either way. We'll go this way, though. We had a good meeting related to online marketing and all that stuff. That's something that I have been wanting to get into more. And finally, I found somebody who actually went to school for it. So now we're going to give that a honest effort this year. Oh, look at this. We're going into the ice forest. Look at that. Ice everywhere. Zach was down here last weekend. It was cold as hell. He also had a cold and couldn't taste the food. That's okay. When all the restaurants here, sooner or later, if you do it enough, all the food tastes the same anyway. That's not a slam. It's just, the number one ingredient in restaurant food anywhere is salt. And everything eventually just tastes like salt. Gene, no, the roads aren't slippery. I mean, I'm sure there's patches, but it's above freezing now, and it's been raining, just regular water. So everything seems to be melting, except for the ice on the branches, but that's starting to fall off now, too. So I think it's supposed to be up to 51 by the end of the day. So, by the way, we postponed. I didn't know what to expect, and, you never really want to believe the forecast entirely. So I texted everybody, and also just taking into account some of the driving records and walking records of some of our cast members. I decided it would be best for my conscience and for their safety if we all stayed in and didn't do a show tonight. So we're postponing the return of AG today to next Thursday. And yeah. Jeez. Debbie Jones says, good afternoon, Matt. Work gave us the day off because of the storm, so I'm home. There you go. There you go. Good for you, Deb. Good for you. You know, I'll tell you, it's what we call wet outside. Not terribly unpleasant, though. So if you did venture out, you're probably okay. I think it would be safer to drive than walk. I don't know. I'm imagining not everybody's removing the ice from their sidewalks. But what do I know? Ty says, good morning, Matt. By the way, you should submit the walk tallers for consideration for a Grammy since they are giving those things out to AI now. Are they really? How funny would it be if a car crashed into a building by the Temptations or Bethany, Oh Bethany by Ani DeFranco won a Grammy? Or Grant Sits Alone in His Basement by Earth, Wind, and Fire. Oh, shit. John Adams is in Kentucky. I thought you were from Massachusetts, John Adams. But Peter Zach says, got to see Little Round Top. Unfortunately, it was too cold to fully enjoy, though with the clear views of the battlefield makes it look smaller. Yeah, if it's a windy day, you're definitely gonna feel it up on Little Round Top. Ragged Edge had a coffee brownie that was definitely coffee crack that had going day and night. The Walk Tallers needs a greatest hits release. You know, I was wondering actually, you say that, Gene, I was actually thinking if I ever get free time to just F around, I was thinking I could go in and extend those Walk Taller songs and like make full songs out of them. And then I would like release like a Walk Taller's greatest hits for the patrons. But I was wondering if like, if that would be worth the time, or if I could just do them as they are, as like these 30-second snippets. The only one I extended was the Little Ground Top one so that I could talk over the instrumental, but that's it. Oh no, I wouldn't sell it, Gene. I would put it out for free as a little bonus for the patrons. Ron Moore says, hey Matt, we had an ice event in Chicago last night too. Just now safe for this old man to walk down my steps. Yeah, ice is no joke. I had my first slip and fall ever on the ice that I wasn't able to recover from, like, you know, avoid. Like, you know, when I was younger and more agile, if I was slipping on the ice, I would do a dance until I regained my balance and found some traction on the ground somewhere else. I would do like a little tap dance around the ground until I felt traction, you know. But this, the earth just pulled out from under me. That was a couple weeks ago. Beatles won a Grammy for a song generated with AI. Are you kidding me? I just don't like the world we're living in anymore. I don't. This AI stuff, it's cool, it's cute, it's helpful in well, many ways, and it's going to be helpful, even more helpful, I would imagine, in the future. Hopefully for good things. The problem is, though, like I've tried to use it for writing things, and it just doesn't have, you still have to go in and make it your own. You know, you can't just, and then you can always tell when something's written by AI because you just get this feeling you're not talking to a person. And it could be grammatically correct, it could be perfect grammar, and that's another way that you get the feeling that you're not talking to a person. It's just too good. Yeah, and with pictures, I don't like it with pictures, but it is a lot of fun with music. I don't know, have you seen, I think, it's just different things, like I saw Led Zeppelin, if they were a doo-wop group, and they did a whole Led Zeppelin album as doo-wop. You know, so basically the lyrics. I saw another one which was, I forget who, but it was it Pearl Jam or Alice in Chains as a Motown group. Just, that's fun. It's cool. I mean, am I going to sit and listen to that, to relax at the end of the day? No, but it's neat from a technological standpoint. It's just really quaint and cool, and it's a novelty. But it's going to be overused and misused and abused, and I don't like that. I don't like that. But unfortunately, like, people who prefer to create their own things from soup to nuts, like, we're going to have to eventually just cave, because AI will enable people who are less creative to just put things out mindlessly. And if you're going to keep up and get noticed, like, you have to join them. And that's the thing that sucks. All right, enough about AI. Walk Taller's karaoke at the Christmas party. I think there is a way where I could get versions of the songs without the lyrics. My favorite is a car crashed into the building, because I love the Temptations, and I love the Motown sound, which no one can replicate well. And the Walk Tallers, no one until the Walk Tallers came along could replicate the Motown sound. Should have probably removed the ice from my hood. That's what's flying up in my face right now. Debbie says, although the mental image of you tobogganing down the mountain was really entertaining for everyone else, that was part of the text he sent to the group. Yes, well, that's the way it's been, but actually the roads were pretty clear coming down. I don't know if that was because they went out and took care of them, or they naturally melted. One had some old blues singer doing 50 Cent into club. That was funny. Yeah, right, like that. That stuff is hilarious. Peter says, well, AI has to do better than the Island Boys. Oh, God. Oh, remember that? That, like... Talk about... AG Book Club was lots of fun last night. Gene, what'd you talk about? Well, I know what you talked about, but why was it fun, is what I mean. I will get what's his face, Ron White. I have an interview with him coming up, I think in March, and I'll talk to him and see if you guys would, or if he'll talk to you. I'm sure he will. Seems like a nice guy. Thank you, Marie, for the $2 donation for a half cup of coffee. Thank you very kindly. That is where this show will terminate today. This video. Jeff says, all the ice around the local news coverage freaking out about it reminds me of Key and Peele's Black Ice sketch. That's another funny show. Like, brilliantly funny. By the way, speaking of very funny show, Home Improvement is back on, or not back on, but it's on Netflix. And I was like, oh man, I haven't seen this show in like 30 years. So I put it on, and like, usually in a first season of a show, it takes a while for them to get their footing. And, it doesn't really, it's not as good as it gets, by the end. Look at the trees. Can you see the color of the, I'll slow down, of the ice bespeckled trees against the color of the grass? That's pretty cool. Almost looks like it's not real, man. Like it's some fantasy or something. Anyway, that show is hilarious. And not just, when I was a kid, I thought it was funny because Tim the Tool Man would always blow something up or whatever. But the actual words they're saying, the actual jokes are just as clever and funny. And I'm like back into it. I was talking about it this morning, and I'm like, I think part of it is definitely like just nostalgia for my youth, um, and the delusion we all have of a simpler, easier, safer time and all that crap. Um, but yeah, that's part of the reason why I think I'm going backwards and watching all these old shows. But also because I didn't get them fully as a kid, right? You don't fully understand things as a kid because you don't have the experience to draw on all this stuff. But as you get older, you do. So now I'm like fully enjoying the show, and it's a good thing to watch before bed, because then you get laughs in your system. For a while, we were watching Dexter before bed, and I was having these horrible dreams. And I was like, we can watch Dexter, but if we're starting to doze off, we have to switch to like Home Improvement or something else so that we're not having these terrible dreams. Ty Webb says, just recently got into high-res lossless music with some decent headphones and have loaded up the library with Motown. Tough to beat. You can't beat Motown. You just can't. I don't care what anybody says. Beatles might come close as far as recording techniques go, but Motown, you cannot mistake the Motown sound. Like from the beginning to maybe like 71, 72, then they start to change their recording techniques and it's not the same. Here's Pickett's charge for those of you who want to see. But explain to me, Ty, what is this high-res lossless music and how do I get into it? Because I want to hear that. What, are you just listening to wave files instead of MP3s, or what are you listening to? What is this lossless stuff? I need to know. Peter Zach, Corey Feldman could never be copied by AI. That is true. There is nothing better. Once a quarter, I like to go on a 1 to 2 week Corey Feldman kick. I hope to God that he is doing that on purpose and that he's really not that delusional and talentless, because it's sad if that's what it is. If he's doing it on purpose, it's the greatest troll ever. But yeah, I love watching that. Alex says, hey Matt, how many pieces of vinyl do you own? I only have a small collection of vinyl. I have a record player. But even when I was a kid, and when we had records and cassettes, I would listen to my parents' records, but they always bugged me. I think I'm like a little autistic in like sound, like in regard to sound. There's just certain things I just have no tolerance for, and records. At the time we were listening to my parents' records, which were probably, oh God, by that point they were 10 to 20 years old. You know, they got some warping, they got some dust, they got some scratches, so you're not getting a clean listen. And then I always preferred tapes, because for a while at least they would be clearer. You wouldn't have those problems. Now I have a hard time listening to either because digital has so spoiled my ears. But when I do hear a nice, clean, well taken care of record on a high fidelity stereo system being played on the turntable, that is a different story. I go, okay, I understand what people are talking about now. There is a warmth to analog and to vinyl and all that. But I only have a few. I have Frank Sinatra, Man in His Music, Billy Joel, The Bridge, the Doors' Greatest Hits, Dean Martin, something or other. I can't remember what that one is. And Eric Clapton, 461 Ocean Boulevard, which is, I think, his best album. Thank you kindly. Debbie Jones loved Home Improvement. It was a hilarious show. And everybody on that show was good. Usually you got one, two, very rarely is like everybody really good. There's always that one that you're like, why is that person on the show? At least for me. But Home Improvement, I thought each actor was perfect for their role. And the funny thing about it, and I felt this way as a kid, but I was a kid and you don't know any better. But even as an adult rewatching it, it always seemed to me, you know how like Ozzie and Harriet, like the Nelsons were a real family? It always felt to me like the Taylors, like they were actually a real family sitcom playing fictitious versions of themselves, because the chemistry between all of them was really good. And yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. And I also loved how during the end credits, they would play a blooper from the show. Because bloopers to me are always better than the show itself. We had some off-topic discussion, like if you could have one relic to display from the Civil War, what would it be? If you were a twee, what twee would you be? Jeffrey Pasnick says, Tim the Toolman is the reason I don't shut the power off when I do electrical. Yeah. You had the nightmares because of how bad the show Dexter got in the later seasons. Ty, yeah, absolutely. We haven't gotten there. We just got to the final season of the final episode of the John Lithgow season, which is the best one by far. That to me, that is the best season of Dexter. And from that moment on, it went downhill. Partly because of what happens in the last episode. I did not like that. I loved that they did that, because that's ballsy. You know what? If you haven't seen it, I don't care if it's a spoiler. The show's 30 years old already. It's not 30 years old, but it's old enough that you should have seen it if you wanted to. Rita dies. But it's the killer, the serial killer that Dexter's trying to kill, sneaks in and gets Rita. And I remember when I first saw it, I yelled at the television. Because who doesn't love Rita? She's sweet, and she's dumb enough to keep taking him back. And what's so screwy about this show is that you're rooting for a serial killer, but he's using it to only kill murderers who slip through the cracks. Like because they weren't Mirandized or something. But everything else had them dead to rights. And I don't know. I thought I hated that they killed Rita, but I also really liked that they did that, because that was like, wow. But then that freed Dexter up, and it took the conflict away, you know, because he's like always trying to make Thanksgiving while going to kill somebody or, you know, do something. And then when you take that conflict away, it's like he's got to keep his marriage going too. Then it's free to do whatever he wants. And then you're the style season, because I don't like her, and that whole season with the psychiatrist that comes, you know, knows Dexter. It just got weird. And the finale was completely awful. Does the Bliss Farm have a marker? There are monuments out there. I'm trying to think. I feel like there is a marker for Bliss Farm itself. Perhaps our high-scoring guide exam friend Debbie Jones would like to answer that question with some divinity, but I think there is. Jeffrey Pasnick says, of course he's doing it on purpose. It ranks up there with Andy Kaufman. I hope you're right, Jeff. I don't know. Because I never thought he was that good of a talent in anything. So for him to be pulling the greatest troll since, like, at least with Andy Kaufman, you kind of knew, or maybe you didn't. I don't know. I hope it is. Tom says, yes for the Bliss Farm, in fact, too. Okay, good. So I guessed right. Ty says, you might be able to listen to it through your Mac if you have Apple Music. I've used Tidal or Wall services. You'll probably need... Ty, What did I say to you? I don't know what you're talking about. How do I get into it? You speak Martian to me. What are you saying there, Ty? I have no idea what you just said. All right, here's a nice view of the 20th Maine marker. There we go. Beautiful. Not marker, sorry, position. Position is what I meant to say. Have you seen Extras with Ricky Gervais? I saw the first episode of it and lost my shiznit when I saw him. What was it? He was like an extra in a World War II movie, and he was like a Nazi soldier. Oh, I can't remember what happened in the scene, but it made me laugh so hard with him. Yeah. Oh God. He was a German soldier. I'm not sure he was actually a Nazi, but you know what I mean. But I never saw the rest of it. Ty agrees that the John Lithgow season of Dexter is easily the best one. Jean says she lives under a rock. She's never heard of Dexter. Dexter was a Showtime show back in the 2000 aughts, and it's based on a novel, I think, about a serial killer. Well, I don't know what the novel's about, but the show is about a serial killer who was adopted by a cop who recognized these behaviors in him as a young man, and in order to protect his son, he taught him how to harness that, and he gave him a code to live by, so he only used it for against people who slipped through the cracks of the system. Of course, being a cop, he had a lot of experience with people who everybody knew were guilty as sin, but because of a technicality they got off or whatever, or a stupid jury, and so Dexter took to murdering Dexter. You should be rooting for killers, but the way they do it, you kind of do root for them. Again, after the John Lithgow season, it kind of just starts going downhill, and it is probably one of the worst finales of all time. Of all time. Phil says, hello, addressing Gettysburg. Hello, Phil. How are you? Yeah, it does look pretty amazing here, Phil. The weather has made some cool views. Let's see if I can maybe pull over here and share one with you. It's not going to translate, but you can see here. I'll try to keep the phone still and slowly pan. I'm slowly panning. See, because there's a long street tower in the distance. But you see how the ice is on all the trees, so it makes the trees have that grayish color. And there's a happy little Halloween tree and his happy little friend. Everybody deserves a friend. There is the, what do you call it? The Klingel farm, which is falling apart. All right, there's another tree, and there's a fence line. Isn't that nice? Okay. All right, wipers, be quiet. All right. Don says, are you heading to Devil's Den? We lost you last time. No, I try to avoid going down there as much as I can because I lose service. It is a cell phone service hellhole down there. So unfortunately, Peter Zach, I don't like that retaining wall they built on Little Round Top. What retaining wall are you talking about? Around the 44th New York? I think I actually like that. Only because it just, you know, I hate to admit that they were right about one thing, but the erosion around that monument was bad. And it did need to be fixed and righted. And what I do like about the retaining wall is in the construction of this retaining wall, they discovered the actual battle level of the ground. And so they uncovered artifacts that had been basically, you know, I guess trampled underfoot at first, but then ultimately buried under, I think, 4 feet or so of fill that was used to build the monument. So in doing that, they actually have restored some of the battleground in front of the monument. So it is a little different now in front of the monument because you can actually tread where the soldiers tread or trod. Did they trod? I've got to look up the word tread and the proper conjugations of that verb, because I often want to use it, but then I don't, because I'm not sure about my tense. Or is it tenses? All right, so just going to give you another view here. This is the field of Pickett's charge. There's the angle that we're looking at, the inner angle on the left, the outer angle on the right. And then we're going to pan across here. The sun is trying to burn through the clouds, and hopefully it does. It's nice to have sun. But there we go. There we go. Okay, let's head over to the Hill of Culps and see what the ice has done over there. I think we're going to do AG today while driving around in the car from now on, because I don't know why these videos get so many more views than any other live video that we do. I appreciate them. I'm not complaining. But we really put a lot of effort into AG today. This just cost me gas. But a lot of time and effort goes into that show. So I'd like to get the numbers up on that one. So I think we're going to start doing them driving around in a car. Or something. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll drive around in the car. I'll record 2 hours of driving footage, no talking. Just mount a camera on the hood so it's a, you know, wide angle, and we'll play that. You don't have to look at us on AG today. You can just listen to us talk while we drive around the battlefield. That way, if you don't like listening to us talk, you can mute it and just look at the battlefield, and then it's a win-win-win. Win. Everybody wins. But thank you for watching regardless, and thank you for those who comment. Don says you're heading to, oh, I'm sorry. Peter says, I don't like, I read that. Ty, that's where we are. Hey man, got like 150 characters on here to describe it. Not the best medium to talk through. Okay, gotcha. Well, we'll have to have a phone call or something like that, Ty, or email or whatever, because I'm interested in whatever this is you're talking about. Do I need specific speakers or headphones or what? It's very exciting. But also a little scary, because sometimes when they've remastered, I know the Doors did this every year that an album hit its 40th anniversary, they put out a remastering of the songs, and I thought, oh wow, I get to hear it, you know, as it was intended or whatever. And I listened to it and I'm like, you know what? I actually prefer the lower fidelity version that I grew up on. Because now I can hear too much. It's too crisp. It's too clean. It's not the Doors. Jeffrey says, show my wife and I are watching on Netflix is Kevin Can Go F himself. Wait. Why does that sound familiar? I feel like I've seen that. What is that about? Different spin. Who's in that one? There was one with this guy. Oh, is it Zach Stone is gonna be famous or something? And it was basically stupid, but I did enjoy a little bit of it. I like the kind of offbeat ones, like Haters Back Off, and I like that's why Waiting for Guffman and Best in Show, and what's that other one? A Mighty Wind and Spinal Tap are some of my favorites because they very, very kindly, they're not being mean, but they examine a subculture of society, and they do it pretty true to form, but they also show the absurdity of it without being insulting to the people. Like, that's why Best in Show, Guffman, I think, is the best, because if anybody's ever known anyone who's done community theater, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, they nailed it. Like, how seriously these how seriously these people take it, and how out of touch they really are. And that's what's so funny about it. All right, so we've got ice falling. There you go, out of the trees now. We have, I don't know if it's wind that's coming through here that's causing all the... I don't think it's a hailstorm. I do believe this is just ice detaching from the branches. That's what it looks like. It's very exciting. A lot of people want to know what it feels like to be in a car when that happens. Well, now you know. Retaining wall on the backside next to the road. Oh, so I went in that whole thing about the 44th New York, and that's not even what you were talking about. You're talking about the bus parking. Yeah, I hear you. But you know what? I don't remember what it looked like before. It's a funny thing. Like, when it's closed for 2 years, and then it reopens and it's this new thing. It's like, I kind of know this is different, but I don't remember how. Obviously, I know there wasn't a retaining wall there, but I don't overall remember what everything looked like. And some things, old habits die hard. I noticed there's one social path that I think they tried to obliterate with a wall and, obscuring it and stuff, just letting stuff grow over. But I've noticed that people, and here's the thing, when you're at the top of the hill and your car is straight down below you and you can see it, and there's open ground between you and the car, you're going to make your own path. And so now there's a pathway that goes straight up from the parking lot to the top of the windy path that goes up along the when you're looking at the summit from the parking lot. If you're looking to the left, there's that path that winds up and takes you 30 minutes to get to the top of the hill, as opposed to the way it used to be. Some people were obviously just like, no, I'm just gonna go straight up here because I can, and so they do. So I wish they had left that there, because now people are gonna just continue to walk on that. The AG party bus, or one of those pedal cars with a bar, that would be fun. Liked how they opened Little Round Top, except the paths, which is crumbling. The retaining by the bus parking lot looks out of place. Yeah, I have to kind of laugh about the crumbling paths. These aggregate things that were supposed to blend in with the scenery and nature and all that stuff, and it doesn't even last a year. I kind of wondered that, and when we were doing the video with Steve Sims and he was showing us that, I was standing on it and I'm like, there's no way in hell this is gonna hold. But I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer, But I should have written it down and put it in an envelope with a postage stamp, or what am I trying to say? I should have had it like notarized or something and put in an envelope so that I could say I predicted this, but I didn't, so I can't really say it. No drama in the car. That would be hysterical. Yeah, I think we should do it. Like if we could get a, I don't know. I would die to get. This is again, part of my business plan is once a week playing the lottery, because I have so many freaking ideas and I don't want to have to beg for money. I just want to do it myself. Like I'm not even going to say it, but yes, that would be so fun to do. But it's well, whatever. It is what it is. Garrick says, "Hi Matt, just got back to Helm Station from going on a 911 call. Hope everything turned out all right. Don't get out of the cars instead of AG today." What? I don't understand what you're saying. Eric says, Eric Koval, how are you doing? Nice to see you. All the ultra clean remasters came about in the 90s with the CD era, and all feeling and character was stripped. I agree, Eric. I agree. I do agree. There's something about analog recording that is just, I don't know, real, I guess. Like there's a couple of Temptation songs I was listening to, and I noticed that like the bass drum and the snare drum were the mics were a little hot. They were a little like distorted. And I'm sure that was on purpose because these guys weren't amateurs. But I just love that. And like a digital distortion does not in any way sound as nice as analog distortion does. It just doesn't. Like it's not, you can't use it like an instrument like you can analog. I don't know, man. I'm just old. All right, we are now, let's see. Nice headphones are the most important thing. You use Beyer dynamic headphones for some shows, don't you? I do, thank you. They're usually pretty good. Yes, the Beyer dynamics are pretty good. I don't know enough about them, their whole line of headphones to know which ones are the right ones to get, but the ones that we have on the show are what you would call good, but not great. They're affordable, right? Good enough. I actually use Sony headphones because I want like the full dynamic range so I could hear everything, bass, treble, like the full mix. So I use Sony for that. Everybody else's headphones are pretty flat compared to what I like. And that's also why I'm deaf. In a way, by eroding the paths or blending in with the rest of the landscape. Well, I guess you could say it that way. Did you make it down to... No, I did not, Phil. I had tickets to go, but I got the vid a couple days before the COVID. It was not fun, that one, because I couldn't talk. That was the worst thing. It was great for everybody else, but not for me. Peter Zach says, sites up here in New York tried using aggregate. Probably would have helped if they looked at other sites who tried it. Yeah, that doesn't happen here. Phil says, when Michigan stinks, thinking about Gettysburg in the spring. Well, Michigan stinks. Gotcha. You absolutely should come down to Gettysburg in the spring. It's a great time. But like mid to late April, actually, we have 2 shows at the seminary. If you're a patron, you can go and get tickets for that. They're about to go. I have to see how many seats we need to fill. I've given the patrons a month to fill it, and I think each show, we're trying to only limit it to 20 people per show, because it's a smaller venue, but also I want it to feel like more intimate. I don't need 120 people. I want it to feel more intimate because I want the audience to participate in the show. And so I think maybe with each one we have 2 or 3 slots open. So I might open it up to the public now and let them fill that. And so we have, let's see, April 19th, we're doing a show at the seminary. April 26th, we're doing a show at the seminary. But we also have our first Get Out of the Car tour for the year. And then May 3rd is our 3rd show at the seminary. We're recording all of the July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd anniversary shows that'll come out this year. And it's a live version of Ask a Gettysburg Guide. So all the questions will be by the audience members, and they will ask them directly and hopefully have a little discussion with our guest guides. The law says, getting some coffee. I most certainly am the law. I know my rights. Jeffrey says, beyond excited to be there live for the show for day 2. Good. Looking forward to having you there. I don't believe we've met in person. Is that correct? So it'll be good to meet you. And all of that jazz. It'll be good to meet everybody. I love meeting people, especially people who are very good supporters of the show. It's fun to get to know you guys, especially when we have, all these events and you come to all of them or as many as you can. It is good to see you. Gene says, I've got my hotel for the first Get Out of the Car tour. Awesome, Gene. Fantastic. It'll be nice to see you again. And I got to talk to Lewis because we're trying to do our 2nd tour this year at Monocacy in May, but I'm having a hard time getting a hold of anybody and getting answers from anybody down there. So I might just say to Lewis, hey, you want to do another one in May here in Gettysburg? And do that. This going on the road thing is a lot more difficult than I imagined. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time, but it's way more work than the Get Out of the Cars in Gettysburg have been. So, yeah. But like I promised, if you guys liked it after the end of this year, then every other year we will go on the road. Ty says, Jeff, I'll be there for the 2nd day as well. I'll be sure to nod to you. Very good. Thank you, Ty. Thank you, Jeff. Marie says, we plan to come down for the first tour. We'll see you, Marie. Jeff says, tell Bantam to stock up on Little Ground Top. Plan on getting a bunch when I'm in town. When are you in town? You know you can order online, Jeff. Everybody can, not just Jeff. You can order online, and you can also have a subscription. So if you wanted a bag or 2 bags every month, you can just subscribe, and they'll automatically fulfill that and send it to you once a month. You go to addressinggettysburg.com/cafe, or you could go to Bantam's website. But yeah, you can do that too if you wanted to. All right, everybody, I'm going to get going. You take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.